Hello and welcome to Talk a Good Game, where it has just finished Arsenal 3, West Ham United 3. It's been a fantastic game for the neutrals, if you are a neutral, but we have certainly enjoyed it here. Myself, Tom from Hammers Chat, I've also got Jason and Charlie alongside me. Good afternoon, lads.
How do?
So before we quickly jump into the highlights and talk about the game, there is an amazing competition that you can win, given to us by the guys over at Umbro, is it, I think? Charlie, it is Umbro, isn't it? Yeah.
It is, yeah.
You can win the chance to be a mascot on the day against Watford. I think it's the third last game, but watch until the end of the video and we'll tell you about the 4 different ways that you can enter into the competition. Now, we've got a lot to get through here today, but Jason, I'm gonna come to you first here, mate. Was it good to see Tompkins back in the lineup today?
Yeah, I think he's been sorely missed, really. I think he does offer a calming presence, but yeah, I just think tactics-wise, he was a little caught out, I'm afraid.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a second. Sacco, with no idea what's happened, he had a bit of a a Snapchat rant the other day, and he didn't show today in the team sheet. So if you came here looking for an idea of why he wasn't there, we have no idea either. Was it a weird formation to come out with, Charlie? Because I think we were all expecting 4-3-3 really, with Tompkins at right back, maybe Antonio pushed up, but we almost came out in a bit of a 5-4, or I don't know really what he went with, like 5-3-2 was it, or 5-5-4-1?
It was something. I'm not 100% certain. I think the only thing that could be certain for sure was that we were playing 5 at the back and our front line was super isolated. I wasn't upset when I first realised it was it, because we've actually played quite well when we've had wing backs this season. Once or twice we've been a bit dodgy, but we've actually played quite well in the whole. But Arsenal were incredibly quick on the attack, and they were getting in behind the wing backs constantly, and that meant that our back three, I don't think, really knew what to do properly, and it was causing us untold amounts of trouble at the beginning. But I wasn't as upset as I was expecting a usual formation, but I wasn't hugely upset, but it just did not work. Simply.
Yeah, I know, I could agree with that. I think I was today looking for Tompkins to go in at right back and Antonio to push up, but we struggled today massively. Tompkins looked very rusty in that first half especially, and we're throwing him at the deep end today because I think Arsenal, they are horrible to play against, especially towards the end of the season when they are all guns blazing, if you will. Did you expect to see Payet out there today? Because he is back fit, Jason. I mean, he's a bit more of a presence than Ospina, because Ospina's tiny, isn't he?
Yeah, he did seem a bit suspect as well, especially when shooting from range. He sort of flapped at everything, but I guess Wenger just likes to trust in his tri formation. I mean, like I say, they did turn Watford over 4-0, so maybe he just thought, we'll give him another run out and see who he gets on.
Yeah, I think, jumping into the highlights again quickly, Lanzini first goal was offside, rightfully so. Second goal, Charlie, onside or offside?
It was onside, and I mean it's a shame because it was brilliant. I mean, I don't think Carroll meant to put it into his path, but it was brilliant. But unfortunately, it wasn't that tight, and you can't really say the linesman had an excuse there. Unfortunately, but what can you do?
Yeah, exactly. I think about that. So, as Gio likes to talk about his man in the middle, Craig Pawson today, how do you think he did overall? Because, I mean, for me, at times, he was shocking. I mean, there was no consistency with the thing. It's not as bad as we've seen the last couple of weeks, but here we are again talking about another refereeing decision. Do you think that, he had a good game today, or was it, where do you think he was today in his officiating?
Again, it's just another decision that could have gone either way. I feel like we're going down the same old story here of talking about another refereeing decision. I feel like a Chelsea fan in a way, constantly moaning about the ref. But and then we went 2-0 behind, and I just thought it could have gone so much of a different story if he just gave us the opening goal, which was rightfully onside.
Yeah, of course. I mean, then it turned out Arsenal on the counter-attack were very good. Tompkins, again, on the counter-attack looked very suspect. Ozil, if there was only one man that was going to score, it was the battle of the Ozil and Payet chance today, as you heard from the kickoff. Ozil's goal, again, was it offside or was it onside? To Charlie this time.
By the letter of the law, it's offside. But with that one, you can't blame the linesman. Whereas with the other one, you're like, well, that's just the wrong decision. It was unbelievably tight. Literally, like, half was on, half was off. So by the letter of the law, yes, it was offside. But if you were to blame the linesman for that, it's a bit harsh. It's way too quick. I will say, brilliant ball by Iwobi. Absolutely brilliant. He's coming to the team brilliantly, but that was fantastic. Usually Ozil would be the one putting those balls through, but that was perfect, inch perfect.
Yeah, I think what was quite funny was that Hal Webb on commentary said that the linesman that given Lanzini's goal offside was a world-class linesman. And I think it was very tight, the Ozil goal. I can see why it wasn't blown up. It was a really flat first half, I think, Jason, wasn't it? We had no real end product, did we?
It was only until sort of right at the end of the first half that we sort of woke up again. We always seem to be so slow out the traps, and Arsenal rightfully punished us by having us go 2-0 down. I was going through the 5 stages of grief, really, going through those motions until we just sort of woke up, put a cross in, and Carroll took full advantage. He does what he does best.
Yeah, I mean, again, Arsenal came with the counter-attack for their second goal. Tompkins and Ogbonna a little out of place. They just don't know. So they didn't know really what they were doing, did they, in the first half? They didn't look at all comfortable, did they, Charlie?
No, the back three in particular just looked all at odds and ends, and every time one would step forward in order to try and top someone, and then another Arsenal player would just come sprinting through, and the gaps were absolutely massive. They just did not look prepared for it at all, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's maybe because it was a last-minute decision to go to 3 at the back and maybe not trained it all week, but they were just the organisation was poor.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. Sanchez's goal went in, obviously, for the second. Tompkins' fault, unfortunately. And I don't think we can blame him too much. I mean, we can, obviously, but it's very rusty. It's very difficult to throw him in at that time. People looked knackered at that point. Antonio was absolutely... He was blowing, wasn't he, Jason? Everybody looked spent.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he wears his heart on his sleeve. He runs himself into the ground. And like I say, even the commentators are picking up on it. I just think we only made one sub that whole game. I really think we could have done with just chucking on someone else that could have just done a job there, really, and just try and see that game out before they equalised.
Yeah, indeed. Right, Charlie. Okay, so we were down, not out, but I was thinking to myself, if we claw one back before half-time, we can go into the second half and it will be interesting. Andy Carroll stepped up. I mean, it was a fantastic cross from Cresswell, but he has some, doubters and haters at times, Carroll, but he's just proven today, if you put the ball on the money, he is brilliant, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, they had a warning sign about a minute before where even then he was moving backwards away from goal, he still managed to cause a little bit of problems for a spinner. And then the second chance they get, Cresswell, the ball was inch perfect, exactly where Carroll wants it. He gets to attack the ball, he nods it in. He is the best header in the Premier League by quite a long way, but he's probably the best in the world at it. When he is on form, I don't know many defenders in world football really who can handle him. He's just that good.
Yeah, again, Charlie, I'm going to ask you again for the second goal. I mean, it was a bit lucky because he had an initial header sort of saved or deflected, and then it came back. And we've seen him a few times have that overhead kick. He tries it now and again, doesn't he? But this time it was lucky. It was a massive deflection, but it was a great technique, wasn't it? Almost like Dean Ashton's, a couple of weeks ago at the testimonial game.
Yeah, not to be too hyperbolic, but I think that Carroll, again, I think he gets maybe a bit too much criticism for his ball on the floor play, essentially. I think people undermine how good he actually is with his feet, and we've seen him do overhead kicks before. We saw it at the beginning of the game. I think it was lucky because it did get a deflection, but to have the presence of mind and the ability to turn that quickly, then get up in the air, do a scissor kick, and hit it, he deserved it, and I think he was fantastic all game today, to be honest.
Yeah, no, he really was. Slav was quite resolute, didn't change at all until half-time. But at half-time, Jason, he brings Tompkins off. Was that the turning point for you, having another... who did he bring on? Was it
Emenike?
It was Emenike, that was it. Sorry, I couldn't remember that. Was it good to have another attacking player on, get into that back four with Antonio at right back, and what we're used to for that second half?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I think this was the one thing with the team lineup. It was almost the one con of actually having a fully fit squad. Like I say, we've had for so long, we've never actually had our full team available. And like you said about the sort of communication, sort of jittery start, I think where they probably haven't all trained together fully fit has been what the difference was. But yeah, I'd say having Emenike on, I actually quite rate Emenike. He does a job. He runs. He tracks. He's effective. He's very industrious. And I think that really did help us out and really made Arsenal work that little bit harder.
Yeah, no, I mean we went to a 4-3-3, which is obviously what we're used to, and we were a lot more compact in that second half. Jason just made comments there, Charlie, about Emenike. Do you agree with those? Because I've got a little voice in my ear from Gonzo saying he's rubbish, he's rubbish. Is that the same for you?
I was about to say, let's give a small shout out to Gonzo, who unfortunately can't be here today, who would say he's rubbish. But I think, I think when you look at it, I think we had two options at halftime, and it was either bring on an attacking player for Tompkins and have Antonio sort of play the deeper role, or push Antonio forward and keep Tompkins at right back, which is what I was kind of thinking of doing. However, with all this sort of speculation and rumours around Sacco right now, given the fact that he went AWOL during the week and then hasn't appeared even in the squad today, I think it's actually the correct decision to give Manike a shout and to say, look, I trust in you, go out there and sort of change the game. And I think it would have been between him and Enner Valencia, and I think unfortunately we've seen the best of Enner Valencia, whereas I don't think we've seen the best of Emenike yet. He's a hard-working guy, and on his day he is very, very good. Unfortunately, I don't think we've seen that yet. However, today was solid from him. It was solid.
Yeah, I agree with that. Before we jump onto the remaining goals, Gio made a comment on the preview. Now, he said that Lanzini, Jason, that's this to you, that Lanzini's name should definitely be on the team sheet before Payet's. Now, for myself, I almost agree in a way, because I think Lanzini does the stuff that goes unnoticed at times. He really is that playmaker through the middle, and part of me says no, Payet will go on the team sheet first, but Lanzini is as influential, even more so than Payet. And today, I mean, Payet was a little bit better, but would you put Lanzini on the team sheet first? How would you assess that?
Oh man, well Payet is the headline grabber really. Lanzini's the guy that pulls the strings under the radar. I think he's a very much our sort of secret weapon in a way, because everyone is always so focused on gearing up for Payet. Don't let him concede a free kick, because 9 times out of 10 he will stick it in the back of the net or somewhere in a dangerous area. But yeah, no, I think Lanzini will be the one, if people catch on about, we may have to worry about. Well, hopefully we'll be able to hold on to him for the coming future, because he's got his best years ahead of him.
Yeah, I mean, Gio said take away the free kicks, and Payet, what does he look like? I mean, maybe not that as much. I mean, I think his free kicks have obviously stolen the headlines. Owen Hargreaves made a comment during the game, and now he said that Lanzini looked a lot like Coutinho. And do you reckon, Charlie, that he could mould into a Coutinho-like player with his movements, with his passing ability, with his his long-range shooting? Could he potentially become someone as good as Coutinho?
I think he can, and I think when he played, I think when you compare the two directly, Payet and Lanzini, that is, I mean, you only have to look at the game to see how often Payet has 2 or 3 players around him, and how often Lanzini has no one around him. And I think Lanzini, given time, he's only 22, remember, given time, he really can become a Coutinho-like player, because he has pretty much everything in the locker, and he even has that work rate that is needed to succeed at the top level. And I think that he can control the ball, he can shoot the ball, he can pass the ball, he basically does everything. And I think that Coutinho Harrison is completely apt. They are very, very similar players, and it wouldn't surprise me in 2 or 3 years if you're looking at Lanzini and saying he is as good, if not better, than Coutinho.
Yeah, I myself would say I'd not noticed that comparison until Hargreaves made it today, and I think it was quite good. I think he has got the potential to be a very, very good player. And don't forget, he is still very young. Third goal. I mean, we were all probably screaming and shouting at that point. It was, again, testament to if you put the ball at the back post, you float it up for Andy Carroll, he's going to make those time runs. Another fantastic header, wasn't it, Jason?
Oh, absolutely. As Charlie sort of alluded to earlier, he doesn't get enough credit. I think he is almost like the modern-day target man. He can work it with his feet. You saw he was doing some tricks and flicks, putting other people into the game, bringing the play back, bringing it forward, and like I say, you put it in the box, 9 times out of 10, he's going to be on the end of it. And, very well taken. Keep the armadillo tail. It's his lucky charm, I think.
That it is. I couldn't agree with that. I mean, Charlie mentioned that he was probably one of the best headers in the world. I agree with that. But take nothing away from Antonio's cross. They've obviously worked in training, and they know how to work to Carroll's style. And he, again, just proves, you get him in the box, he's an absolute monster. Lanzini saved a goal. I mean, this was, a lot of teams don't do it. A lot of teams do it. They stick a man on the front post. Was that a vital stop there for you? I mean, to have Lanzini on that post, Charlie, was that because it could have been very bad? It would have been a goal, without a doubt.
I literally do not understand why people don't just put a man on either post in those situations. It's so simple. What I will say about that is I just love Adrian's reaction of just running towards Lanzini and just hugging the heck out of him. Adrian is the most passionate person on that football pitch, and I kind of love it. But I mean, I don't understand why people don't do it. It's such a simple thing, and again, Lanzini, the secret weapon, almost just popping up with just vital things.
Yeah. Koscielny's goal, Jason. Was it a little unfortunate, or was there somebody to blame for that, or was it just the ball pinged about a bit and he just managed to get on the end of it?
Yeah, near enough. You've just said it in a nutshell, really. Arsenal, you get it. They play about the field, and they're one of the best in the game at doing it. I think I don't really think anyone was at fault. It happened at such a quick turn of pace, and it's just unfortunate.
Yeah. There's a few as well. Okay, Charlie. There's a few tackles that have gone in from Gabriel, who lashed out at Carroll, albeit that the whistle had been blown for a foul on Carroll. Then there was one from Koscielny a minute afterwards. I'm not saying, again, we're going to have not trying to get in deep with this conversation. I'm not saying the referees are against us, but again, there wasn't much consistency from the ref today, was there?
No. I think Arsenal learned after the third goal that if you can't beat Andy Carroll, you might as well just beat him up, because they were just, all of a sudden, everyone was surrounding him, kicking him, pushing him to the floor. Gabriel was just lying on the floor with his studs shown right in his path of direction. Why not? I mean, let's do it. It's unfortunate. We've had so many decisions go against us in a row now, and I think there are a few more today. And I was surprised that Arsenal managed to get away with as much as they did. I think there should have been at least a couple of yellow cards to them. But I don't know. It's one of those things. I don't want to sound like a paranoid person about it, but they probably should have got maybe a little bit more punishment than they did today.
Yeah, I mean, at that point the game became really open. It was back and forth and back and forth. It was a fantastic game if you're a neutral watching it. Arguably for me, one of the best games of the season at the Boleyn, I think. Should Slav have made a sub? Because we saw Tompkins obviously coming at half time, Jason, but the people were flacking a bit towards the end. Would you have brought on Valencia, or would you brought on an Obiang, or what would you have done in that situation if you were Slav?
So hard to say, because the team were still performing really well, but like I say, Antonio just looked knackered. I don't know if Byram was on the bench, but I would have liked to have seen him at least come on and do a job. But I didn't look at the subs bench, so I couldn't fully comment.
No, Byram again, unfortunately, I don't think recovered in enough time for his knock. Would you have made a sub, Charlie, in that situation, to either kill the game or to go ahead and try and get that fourth goal?
Again, it's so difficult because they were actually performing really well despite, like you said, the clear legginess of Antonio and whatnot. And I think there maybe could have been an argument, I think, for taking off Kiate and bringing on Obiang, just to make sure that when they do get the ball in the centre, you are getting direct and accurate passes coming. Because I think there are a few times today, and maybe I'm overly critical of Kiate when I say this, because I've said it before. There are a few times today where he's charging at them, and he's a big lad who's quick and powerful, and you can't really stop him that easily. But the thing that lets him down most is he lacks that last part. He lacks a pass really a lot of the time, and so maybe there was an argument to maybe bring on Obiang and just see the passes be accurate, to just make sure they get out of defence as quickly as possible and transition into attack. But the team were playing very well, so I can understand why he didn't.
Now, Obviously, Gio talks about a lot of the time not trying to be biased here on this show, so we will give a quick mention to some of the Arsenal players. Jason, do you think how mature Iwobi was for that game? He played very well at times, didn't he?
Oh, definitely. He's definitely transferred himself seamlessly into that Arsenal team, and he's right at home there. I think it's very justified that he is hashing out a new deal with the Arsenal hierarchy, because he's going to be a hell of a player in years to come.
Yeah, unfortunately as well, he chose to play for Nigeria, and followed his uncle, which happened to be JJ Okocha. It's not bad for an uncle. Would have been nice to see him in an England shirt maybe in a few years' time, but obviously not to be the case. Sanchez and Ozil had a very good first half, but not as productive in the second half, were they, Charlie?
Yeah. I mean, Sanchez is an incredibly good footballer. Low centre of gravity means that he almost just glides about with pace and power that not many other players have, and the argument of Ozil is obviously against Payet, but I think whenever I talk about it, I know a hell of a lot of Arsenal people, unfortunately, and whenever I talk about the comparison between the two, I think Ozil, when he goes quiet, seems to just go quiet. He doesn't. Dimitri Payet, how many times this season, like Palace is a perfect example where he was quiet for the entire game and then out of nowhere produces a brilliant piece of magic. And I think that's the main difference. Ozil, he got a goal. And he did consistently find small pockets of space, but he wasn't pulling the strings as he has against other teams. And Alexis Sanchez was very much the same.
I think you summed it up brilliant there. I think that Ozil, when he goes quiet, he just drops off the face of the earth. I mean, he had 18 assists, don't forget, just after Christmas or even before Christmas. Since then, absolutely nothing. At least with Payet, he can contribute something to the game. Like you said at Palace, bang, one free kick, and that's it. He can change the game. So then, before we get into some of the more important questions, the most important question, as Gio likes to say, Jason, was a draw fair today? Was 3-3 fair, or should we have won 4-3 with the Lanzini goal, or were you happy with the draw?
I think 3-3 was a fair draw. It helped neither team really, if I'm being honest. So I'm kind of glad we both sort of went for the jugular to try and get that 4-3. But I think it was fair really.
Charlie?
Agreed. Yeah. First half we were the let's be kind and say the lesser team. We were bad. And second half we were much better than they were. So I think ultimately 3-3 is probably the fairest result and best for both teams, I guess.
I'm a little bit different, not entirely. Obviously, you could see Arsenal needed to win that game. They were throwing on attacker after attacker. But in a way, I really think today we needed to really go for fourth, or at least draw level with City. Maybe not feeling like a loss, but it's certainly not what we wanted after that. And I think we were the better team than Arsenal at times then. I really think we should have won. So before we go on and ask a question about who they thought was man of the match, I'm going to have to get this right. Now, we spoke about the competition at the start. Here are the 4 ways in which you can enter the competition. Like I said, it is an amazing competition. If you want to check out the video that Gio explains basically everything that will happen on the day for you, and like I said, it really is amazing. So here are the 4 ways in which you can enter. Most importantly, sorry, we won't go that one first. Most importantly, go onto YouTube, subscribe to our channel, and comment on this video, on this review. Please comment on this with your man of the match. That is for YouTube. On Twitter, find us at Hammers_chat. Retweet the pinned tweet that is on our Hammers Chat Twitter page now, and also follow us on Twitter. On the forum, there will be a thread for this competition for the mascot, obviously for the mascot competition. Comment on that thread. Obviously, you probably have to create an account first, but comment on that thread. And on Facebook, the most recent post, you need to share that post and also like our Facebook page. And that is the 4 ways in which you can enter. And Charlie, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you can enter every single one, is that right?
You can indeed. Even if you've entered once somewhere else, enter a second time in a different way and you get entered twice. And then 3 times and then 4 times. Basically, we're giving you a way to cheat. So feel free to cheat to your heart's content, but just make sure you do it all 4 times.
And I really would honestly get on top of this, because it's for the 3rd last game at Upton Park against Watford. It will be an amazing atmosphere and something that will live with you for the rest of your life. Now, man of the match time. Jason, who are you going for?
It's pretty straightforward for me. I'd say Andy Carroll, without a doubt. He showed up, he delivered, and he stayed fit for the whole 90 minutes. So what more could you ask for?
Charlie?
Yeah, I'd probably say Carroll as well, to be honest. I think he had a fantastic game. Kouyaté, I think, played well, but again, those passes let him down. Yeah, let's go with Carroll.
Andy Carroll. I think, when he shows up big time, and he was brilliant today. A few honourable mentions. Obviously, Charlie mentioned Kouyaté. I thought Crespo's delivery again today was on the money. But Andy Carroll stole the limelight today. And let's hope we can keep him in this form, because when he's in this form, he is a £20 million striker. Bilic has said it before. Many managers have said it before. Keep him in this form, and he is a £20 million striker. So that is all we've got time for today. I hope you have enjoyed this review. If you want to come over for the latest West Ham news, find us at claretandhugh.info. Alternatively, if you want to find and speak to your fellow West Ham fans, visit us at hammerschat.boards.net. I've been Tom. That's been Jason. That's been Charlie. We've been Hammers Chat. We'll see you next time.